Wednesday, which means throwing shade. It is a certain season right now that we have entered that I will throw shade on here at the end of today's Wednesday show, like we do every Wednesday, throwing shade at the end. But Zach, we are talking NFL today. One thing Titans fans need to watch for in the AFC the rest of this season. I have no idea what your topic is. You have no idea what my topic is. Then we've got a one big NFC gut feeling from you for a certain contender. I've got to take about an NFC team that I think is going to fall flat when it gets to January and playoff time. So welcome into everybody on the show. It's going to be a very interesting Wednesday show. Congrats to Louie. Here was the first comment on Facebook, followed by Apollo and Nick. But going to have a good show on this Wednesday, Zach, talking NFL. And we're going to get to a broad spectrum about the NFL as we get closer and closer to heated up playoff races. And I think both the AFC and the NFC have a lot of things that are going to fall into place over the next couple of weeks. So let's get this thing rocking and rolling.
Yeah, plus yesterday, we'll give your opinion on the new Twitter feature. I know everybody watches this show in a different way. We stream on Facebook, on Periscope, on Twitch, and on YouTube. But a lot of people have Twitter. That's how they get their information. It's kind of the new age newspaper. And they added a feature yesterday. So we'll ask you if you're in or out on the fleeting service.
Fleet.
Look, I've got my own opinion on that. And then shade. My shade's an oldie but a goodie. My shade is on Corona Bros. We're going to have to bring that back a little bit. I understand the coronavirus, all that, but I did find this is a split shade, Austin, because it does have a sprinkle of a Friday good news in it too, but it also throws shade on the Corona Bros. It's kind of a perfect pairing. It's like, at Thanksgiving dinner, that perfect mac and cheese with that succulent turkey, light white meat or dark meat. It doesn't matter, whatever your preference is. But it's a great pairing for shade today. Before we get started, though, bottom right corner of your screen, if you're watching on Periscope/Twitter, you'll see those three little dots. You can share the broadcast that way. We need to pop up in your Twitter followers' timeline. Also, what's going on YouTube and Twitch, what's going on Facebook. Bottom left corner of your screen, if you're watching on Facebook on your phone, you'll see that share button. Share now to public. Boom. You're done. It's that easy. I've already done it. I've shared it to my friends. You can share it to yours. Sharing is caring, and caring is sharing on the show. So let's get this party started as more people pile in over the next 5 to 10 minutes.
Yep, let's do it officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Zach Bingham. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at A to Z Sports. Make sure you like our Facebook page at A to Z Sports Nashville. We're Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, and we go live every weekday morning at 8 Central Time. Got to thank our sponsors because they make it all happen for us, our show, and you guys. Renters Warehouse Nashville, the professional landlord in the Nashville area. renterswarehouse.com is where to find out how much your home can rent for. Mandu, the pulse of fitness, for one 15-minute workout equals 5+ hours in the weight room. Your first workout absolutely free at mandu.com. The Tucker Agency, Nashville's independent insurance agency, saving you money on your personal insurance at tuckertn.com. Calvin and Subtle for your new hardwood floors and finishings in the mid-state, calvinandsettle.com. And the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care, boneandjointtn.org. So Travis is done. He shared. Louis says sharing is caring. Make sure you share the show. So Zach, for the first time in a while, I honestly have no idea what you're going to say on the show this morning. To lead off, normally we have a defined topic, and I could have an inkling of what your opinion's going to be. But no, I feel like I'm a viewer today because you guys don't know what Zach's going to say. I don't know what Zach's going to say. We're all going to be reacting together, and maybe we'll be shocked, just as shocked as everybody was when Ryan Allen got cut and not Trevor Daniel as a Titans punter yesterday. But Zach, I'm eagerly awaiting to see what you have in store to lead off this morning's show.
All right, so this is a mid-season, and it is kind of a unique thing. We talk about shade and pet peeves that Austin and I have, and one of it is not being prepared for the show, is coming in and be like, Hey guys, what do you want to talk about? Phone lines are open. Let's talk some sports. That is the most half-ass way. I mean, and it really pisses me, Austin, and Buck off because we've taught Buck the correct process of how to be prepared for a show. So we don't come in here and just be like, hey guys, comment. What do you guys want to talk about? We don't do that. So I was thinking this is kind of, I mean, it's a little past the mid-season point of the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And when I watched the Bears, some of the Bears-Vikings game on Monday night, I realized how bad the Bears were. And I realized that the Bears were in purgatory, right? The Bears are in the worst, I think probably the worst situation in the NFL because they don't have a quarterback. They're questioning their coach and their coaching staff. Their offensive line blows, and they're 5-5. You don't want to be 8-8.
That defense, though, and that return game, though.
And you got nothing to show for it,
right?
Because you don't have a quarterback, and you're not going to draft high enough to get a quarterback. And this year's quarterbacks, Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence, is big. So here is my take of the day, Austin.
Okay.
Here's why Titans fans have to watch two crappy teams the rest of the year. The Titans do not want the Jacksonville Jaguars to catapult above the Jets as the number one pick because those are the two teams in the running. You have the defeated 0-9 Jets and you have the 1-8 Jags. Sam Darnold's not going to be there. But my one big take, and the reason why the title of the show is one thing Titans fans really need to watch for in the AFC. It's not the Steelers. It's not the Ravens. It's not the Browns or the Colts. They have to watch for the future. And the future, they cannot allow the Jacksonville Jaguars to get Trevor Lawrence. And here's my big picture. The AFC South is shaping up. The Texans have cut the cancer, right? They've cut the tumor out, which was Bill O'Brien running their entire organization. They have a franchise quarterback in Deshaun Watson. They have some playmakers. I think, because they have a quarterback, they will rebuild very quickly. 2-3 years, maybe even sooner. The Jags need a quarterback, and Trevor Lawrence is unbelievable. That guy would scare the ever-living you-know-what out of me. The Colts have already built. I don't know how long Phillip Rivers has, but they have a defense, they have an offensive line, they have wide receivers that they've drafted, and they've got 2 running backs. The Titans themselves are set up nicely for the future as well, so I don't want to discredit that. They got a defensive and a special teams problem, but this would change the division because you'd have Ryan Tannehill, Deshaun Watson, and Trevor Lawrence all in the same division, plus the Colts that probably have the best overall football team in the division. You cannot go head-to-head. The Titans are fighting for their lives. So one thing to watch is the race between the Jets and the Jags for last place.
So Ronnie asked us, so you guys asked on Facebook earlier saying that you guys actually do production meetings. Yeah, well, Zach and I talk on the phone and meet every morning for about 45 minutes before the show and talk through a bunch of different things. And this is something that we decided that we weren't going to tell each other. So Zach says, I've got one AFC thing that Titans fans need to watch. And he said, you come up with one, Austin. I was like, all right, I got you. So what I wrote down for my one AFC thing was the Jags need to win another game to keep Trevor Lawrence out of the AFC South. So damn it, we did it again. We agreed on something, and we asked each other the most vague question possible about the entire American Football Conference, and we came up with the same thing. And you're not wrong. and I'm looking at the Jags schedule, and it's not easy to find a win because they've got the Steelers on Sunday. The Steelers are going to get to 10-0. They've got the Browns Thanksgiving weekend right before the Browns come to Nashville. The Browns need to win that game. They go to Minnesota to face the Vikings. You know
they're
how
trending up.
I feel about the Vikings, and they've got the NFL's leading rusher with Dalvin Cook. He scored 12 rushing touchdowns this season, and he's missed a game or two. Then the Titans at the Ravens. The Bears in Week 16 in Jacksonville feels like our only hope of not having Trevor Lawrence fall to the Jacksonville Jaguars. So it's going to be interesting because right now, a 1-win team in Jacksonville and a 0-win team in the New York Jets. Will the Jets stumble into a win? And I've kind of thought the reason why Adam Gase has not been fired yet is because the Jets ownership and front office does not want the typical interim coach. You get some juice and motivation for a week and you win the next game. Like, the Jets don't want to do that. The Jets want to go 0-16 if that guarantees them a shot at Trevor Lawrence. Whether they want Sam Darnold to be the guy or whether they want to trade him or they want to trade that number 1 pick, whatever it might be, the Jets want the number 1 pick. And so we got Jason Martinez asking, what's the Jets schedule? Who's most likely to become in last place as I load the New York Jets schedule the rest of the way? They've got at the Chargers. You got to think the Chargers can pull that one off. The Dolphins, the Raiders, the Seahawks, the Rams, the Browns, and the Patriots. I feel like if the Jets are going to win a game, it's this Sunday in LA against the Chargers, because I think the Patriots in week 17 will be playing for something. So I agree. It's the Jags need to win one more game. And I don't know when it's going to happen. And with Gardner Minshew being benched, he wasn't playing well, but I do think Gardner Minshew capable of pulling something out and winning a game. We agree that the Jags need to win one, so Trevor Lawrence is elsewhere.
So I'll get to my question here in a second. The hard part is, I think this NFL draft feels like a 1-2. It feels like a Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields draft. I think both quarterbacks will be taken. So it doesn't really matter. I think Trevor Lawrence is the real deal. I think he has every attribute. He has the experience. He gained that at a very young age at Clemson. He's a winner. He's a good person, right? Like, he has the quality. He's 6'5", flowing locks. He's a Head and Shoulders commercial waiting to happen. And he's got a rocket arm. And he's been that way since high school. I remember seeing him on 24/7 boards being like, this guy, I was like, who is this loser with the long Fabio hair? Well, this loser is a winner.
Yeah.
And so here's the question I want to ask.
Okay.
We're gonna have to time travel a little bit, put our bodies outside of who we are. If you were Trevor Lawrence, where would you prefer to go? Would you rather play for the Jets or the Jags? It's a really hard question because they're both bad franchises. One, you're right. There's pros and cons. New York Jets have pressure, but you're going to make a lot more money. Nobody's going to remember you in Jacksonville. You got to turn around. So I don't want to get too deep into it.
Yeah.
But if you were Trevor Lawrence, where would you want to go?
Okay, interesting. Here at A to Z Sports, that's a good question. Jets or Jags if you're Trevor Lawrence. So we'll read some of your answers here in a second. But first, let me tell you guys about the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. If you get hurt or someone you love gets injured, make sure they or you get the best care possible from beginning to the end. And with all the doctors, all the staff members, all the rehab facilities and resources they have at the Bone and Joint Institute, you're going to get back to living your regular life and be better. boneandjointtn.org. Make sure you check them out. All steps of the process of healing and getting back to life happen in that one building in Franklin, Tennessee, boneandjointtn.org.
If you're a betting man, My Titans at mybookie.ag, we doubled your first deposit. We've teamed up with them this season, this football season, to help Titans fans out. Code My Titans. You put in $100, you actually get the opportunity to play with $200. One bet that I wish I would have made, it's a heart bet, but I knew it was going to hit. Bucks beating the Panthers and covering that spread last week was free money. And everybody and their mother should have known that. You could have gone to My Titans, put down $200, played $400, and gotten $800. That would have been my play. I'm kicking myself for not doing that. The question, though, that we're asking is, if you were Trevor Lawrence, and I've seen this on the boards, go to Clemson. Clemson is not the option, okay? The options are Jags or Jets. Let's make this interesting. Let's make this hard. Johnny says Jags will probably be against us. He says the Jets are screwed. John says the Jags. Deontay says Jags, no question. Randy says Jags. Christian says Jags. Where are you go on this?
So I look at, and you really have to look at what these two organizations are. And I think the Jags actually have some pretty good talent. Like if you look, James Robinson, undrafted free agent rookie, 5th in the NFL in rushing. And the Jags have nobody in offense.
Is he an Alfred Morris type guy?
Maybe, but again, like that's not a bad thing to start with. But you look at DJ Chark when healthy, and who's been banged up a lot this year. You like DJ Chark. I've always liked Keenan Cole, who had the return touchdown against the Packers last week. So the Jags do have some weapons offensively.
The guy from Colorado.
Oh, Laviska Shenault. Yeah, thanks for mentioning him too, because that's 3 pretty solid offensive weapons to throw to. And isn't Tyler Eifert with the Jags as well? So now you get a big tight end who has ability if that guy stays healthy, which is not that often. But still, like I think that's for Trevor Lawrence, like you're walking into a situation where guys can catch and make plays for you on the outside. Now, there's a lot of other bigger issues with the Jags as well. If you're the Jets, I don't know who the Jets head coach is going to be. I know Doug Marrone is going to be the Jags head coach. The Jets have to go.
You know that. I actually really don't think you know that. I don't think Doug Marrone is going to be back.
I think Doug Marrone will be back
because of how bad they are. It's how bad they are.
But they like Doug Marrone. They do. They trust.
Doug Marrone doesn't win football games.
Look, again, not my opinion. I'm just going off. The Jags will continue to give Doug Marrone an opportunity. They like that. They're excusing what's happened on Tom Coughlin and bad personalities in the locker room that they have gotten rid of. And Hunter says they'll fire Doug. I don't think they will fire Doug Marrone. I don't know who the Jets coach is going to be. The Jets roster is so bad. But if you're Trevor Lawrence, you don't want to go to Jacksonville. You don't. You want to go to the New York Jets. Between these two teams. Jacksonville, You're going to go there and just be an abyss. Maybe Head and Shoulders calls you. Maybe you get an endorsement deal because your hair is immaculate and Head and Shoulders is looking for their next Troy Polamalu. Maybe. Just because of that and because of what you are in college. But I don't think.
Well, you're getting all that if you're playing for the New York Jets, right?
You're getting Head and Shoulders immediately, and you're getting a lot more on top of it. With the Jags, you're not getting anything.
Yeah, it's really I know it's hard.
And like, are the Jags going to win? Like, is either organization going to be a threat to win? Like, actually win their division? I think both are really far behind.
Well, the Bills are a little bit further along because Josh Allen's deeper into his career, and the Bills have corrected a lot of problems that they've had for so many years. The Miami Dolphins have corrected a lot of problems that they've had recently in the snap of a finger.
Right.
Free agency and a quarterback, and they are looking good. They are trending up. But the one thing that you don't have to worry about is Tom Brady, right? Tom Brady and the Patriots dynasty is over. So I think that's a carrot to say the AFC East is not like it has been over the last 20 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
I do think I choose the notoriety and the money over Jacksonville and maybe the team. I say I would rather play for the Jets. Or here's the thing. So let's look at the standings of who could be in the running for it. You've got the Chargers who are 2-7. They're not going to take a quarterback. The Broncos at 3-6 are creeping into that discussion. The Bengals are 2-6-1. They're not going to be in for a quarterback. And if you look at the NFC, who are you working with? The Cowboys, I think they're going to stick with Dak. The Washington football team, you probably
They're absolutely getting a quarterback.
Right, they're absolutely getting a quarterback. And then you've got the Panthers and the Falcons. I'm curious what the Falcons are going to do. I think the Panthers are going to stick with Teddy Bridgewater. So So who are your other options?
I think the Panthers get a quarterback, but again, like we're talking, it's like now you're talking into late top 10 pick. Who's going to be available? Is the Lance kid from North Dakota State? Like Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, 1-2. I'm agreeing with you there.
Here's my perfect team, Austin.
Huh?
And Trevor Lawrence won't do this, but if you really want to be a diva and you know you're the number one pick and you have all the power, right? Because if you say you don't want to play for a team, they won't force you to do it, because there's nothing worse than an employee that doesn't want to be at work. There's literally nothing. It's like a person being in a relationship that doesn't want to be in a relationship. There's nothing worse. It's always going to have trouble. So if Trevor Lawrence decides, and this is what I would do, I'd say, I want to play for the Denver Broncos. That would be my team out of all those teams that we just talked about that need a quarterback at the top of this year's draft. And the Broncos have only won 3 games. So there's not a lot of big separation. I'd say I want to play for John Elway and the Denver Broncos, because that's the only franchise that has told me and has proven to me and shown me that they can do it, that they can put the pieces around and actually go for it.
Can they? With the veteran they have.
Huh?
With the veteran they have.
But John Elway's willing to spend the money to make
John Elway has failed with every quarterback besides Peyton Manning.
But look, Drew Lock's the 2nd round pick. That was somewhat of an experiment. Brock Osweiler, left, and Houston actually paid him. And they were in the transition mode with Trevor Siemian.
So you're right. That's because Paxton Lynch blew too.
They did not have they didn't have the quality.
Because look, John Elway has not proven anything outside of draft. Did he even draft Von Miller? I don't think he didn't. He didn't draft Von Miller. He inherited a good defense, and he convinced Peyton Manning to come. That's all John Elway has done. And they have been awful ever since Peyton Manning left. Awful.
But they're a notoriously good organization.
Since when? They got Peyton Manning. That's it. For like the Broncos have not been a good organization for a long time. Peyton Manning gave them a great window.
They have been a good organization. You talk about all these bad teams and these bad organizations. The Jets are a bad organization. The Jags are a bad organization. The Washington football team is a bad organization. Look at the teams at the top of the draft. The Broncos are the best out of the bad.
But again, that's not like
Trevor Lawrence. Those are the teams you're going to be working with, right? It's like the Bengals. The Bengals have notoriously not been a good organization. I still doubt that Joe Burrow will ever get any help, because I think Paul Brown is cheap, and that's actually the fact.
Let's read some comments. Rob says they suck since Elway left as quarterback. Ronnie says Elway never hits on QB in the draft. BMO says Elway is going to go all in on Sam Darnold. Houston says the Broncos would be dead without Peyton Manning. Locke was supposed to be their guy. Apollo says Brock, the second biggest thief behind Sam Bradford. Brian said whatever.
And Matt Flynn. You can't forget about Matt.
Yeah, Flynn. Matt Flynn too. Brian Watkins just said whatever Zach said. So look, I think,
this is not confirmed, but T and Delta says Von Miller was John Elway's first draft pick. If that's the case, it's a pretty damn good draft pick.
No, it's a good draft pick, but it wasn't, because Von Miller was, my timeline's all jacked up because John Elway did not draft Tim Tebow. John Elway came in the year after that. And how long has Von Miller been in the league? Von Miller played in the Big 12, Texas A&M, which A&M came to the AFC or the SEC in 2012, and Tim Tebow was like a 2011 draft pick. So there's a lot of stuff that I can't remember how it lines up in the timeline. But if I'm Trevor Lawrence, I'd rather go to the Jets, because you're going to get a fresh start with a new coach. I think the Jets will be able to hire a coach they want, because they're going to have the number 1 overall pick most likely. Because I don't see the Jets losing a game or winning a game this season. So Trevor Lawrence should be fine with the Jets. I think Justin Fields with the Jags would still be a really good situation for Jacksonville.
Yeah, I'm obviously curious about those two quarterbacks. Usually when you take quarterbacks 1 and 2, that one of them hits, one of them doesn't, or both of them don't. I mean, we saw that with Jameis and Mariota, obviously. Andrew Luck and RG3 in that situation. Peyton Manning and Ryan Leaf. Very rarely do top 2 quarterbacks, 1 and 2, both hit. And it's not all on the quarterback. Sometimes it is. But it's about, again, the team you go to. The Jets have been playing GM carousel and coaching carousel for years. And so like that, but it's the New York market, and the Giants are in rebuild mode and the Jets are in rebuild mode. And I know that they're in different conferences, but there is a split fan base. And if you're a business, which franchises are businesses, how can you get the guy to steal away a young kid who from New York that is trying to pick a team? The best way is to get a franchise quarterback that he can go buy his jersey.
Yeah. And look, there's a lot of people like where'd he go? Jason says, wouldn't Trevor Lawrence prefer to not play in New Jersey, New York because of the income tax? Maybe. And tax-free Florida is a thing, but that's that's a second contract thing, right? Like that's not that for a quarterback's looking to maximize their profile. Because they are somebody who makes a lot of money off the field, where that's not as if you're an offensive lineman, then yeah, I think you're looking at like which states have the best / worst income tax. I think that would play a deal in your free agency, but I don't think that necessarily matters when it comes to where you're drafted.
Yeah, and you're going to have so much money. You're the number 1 overall pick. You're a quarterback. I mean, your life is forever changed. Like forever. You now it's up to you to keep it that way, but Trevor Lawrence is going to do that. He's
and I'm sure we're going to have a show about this. Ronnie says, don't sleep on Trey Lance from North Dakota State. We've got somebody else bringing up Scoop saying Zach Wilson from BYU, who's been on fire. We've had a couple comments about Kyle Trask. I'm sure once we get deeper and closer to the college football playoff and we start to watch more and more of these quarterbacks in college, I think there's a really good quarterback class behind Lawrence and Fields, who are the obvious, because Kyle Trask, awful facial hair and all, is making a lot of plays. And Rob brings up Mac Jones right there as well. So there are a handful of quarterbacks, and you're mentioning a lot of quarterback needy teams. The Jets, the Jags, Washington, Denver, Atlanta, Carolina, I think because of how they're paying Teddy Bridgewater, would like to have a young guy to groom behind Joe Brady and that new coaching staff as well. So if you need a quarterback, this is the draft to get one, I think.
And not to mention the Bears and the Patriots that are still in the mix, right? But need a quarterback. Because they're tired of being in the mix. They need to get over the edge. So I expect those teams to draft one of those quarterbacks. I feel like it's an interesting conversation because of how much it can shake up a single division. Because I think we all know and feel that Trevor Lawrence is going to be the real deal. Like Joe Burrow jumped on the scene and had a historic LSU, year. Trevor Lawrence has been doing this for years, right? He's stacking games. Joe Burrow had, and I'm not saying it's a flash in the pan year because it was so unbelievable. And I think Joe Burrow has proven even in the pros how good he is. But Trevor Lawrence, I just feel like it's a home run, and everybody knows that it's going to be a home run.
All right, A to Z Sports here on this Wednesday. Zach has a big gut feeling right now about one NFC contender. So we'll discuss that here on the Wednesday show. But first, tell the people about Calvin and Settle.
Yeah, Calvin and Settle is where you need to get your hardwood floors. 615-448-6414. That's 615-448-6414. Think outside the box this holiday season. It's already November 18th, moving right along into the calendar, trying to get this year over and into 2021. One way to make 2021 a lot better is to change your surroundings. I'm not talking about moving up and packing up, but renovating your house. And how you do that, you get new hardwood floors in your kitchen or your bedroom or your living room or your den. You can change the feel of your home, and you're going to be in it a lot more because it is the coronavirusville that we live in. We've just changed. So what you can do, call 615-448-6414, and within 1 to 2 weeks after you pick out your perfect hardwood floors from their showroom or their sample catalog, it's already installed. They're going to rip up that old carpet or the old hardwoods and put in brand new hardwood floors 1 to 2 weeks. That's 615-448-6414.
A to Z Sports here on a Wednesday. We started this show off with having no idea what was going to happen at the top of the show, where Zach and I had one AFC opinion, and we both made it about the Jags needing to win a game to keep Trevor Lawrence out of the AFC South for Titans fans. Zach, what is your big NFC gut feeling this morning?
All right, so it kind of came over me recently as I thought a little bit more about it. And as you know, and I kind of tried to throw you off with the graphic, as you know, I'm a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan. Always have been, always will be. And this is the year the Bucs are actually going for it. They got Tampa Tom. They got Tom Brady. They got the offense, but they've been inconsistent. And in the playoffs, you can't be inconsistent. And I think every team besides the Steelers have been, and the Chiefs have been inconsistent. But in the NFC, Austin, as the way it's stacking up, I just feel like this is the year that Aaron Rodgers goes to the Super Bowl. That's my gut feeling. Is Aaron Rodgers is coming off a 13-3 season a season ago. They were kind of phony because of the games. If you actually watch the Packers, they were probably I would say an 11-5 team, but they ended at 13-3.
Yeah.
They didn't have home field advantage, and they lost to the 49ers, and they wet the bed in the NFC Championship game against the Niners. Well, they don't have that other team in there. I think Tampa is suspect. Look, I hope the Bucs go to the Super Bowl, but the Saints and Drew Brees, I think Drew Brees with his injury, he's going to be in question. I think the NFC West, I think the Cardinals have its flaws. The Rams are good, not great. And I think the Seahawks defense is like the Titans defense. Terrible. And then I'm not even going to talk about the East.
Yeah.
So if you stack up all of that, the Green Bay Packers have a Hall of Fame quarterback. They have a defense that they've put money into over the last several years. They have a running game. Devontae Adams is a top 5 wide receiver. And now he's in year 2 of Matt LaFleur's offense.
Mm-hmm.
This feels like the Green Bay Packers are going to the Super Bowl. I'm saying it Wednesday, 8:49 a.m., November 18th.
Okay. Would it be insensitive to call Drew Brees because of his collapsed lung? I'm sorry. but no, I mean, I don't disagree with how you're talking about the Packers. Is they've got a pass rush. Jair Alexander and a lot of their DBs are pretty talented. And Aaron Jones and Williams, like they got a running game. They've got an offensive line who's staying healthy. With Bakhtiari has battled injuries the last couple of years. They've been having revolving doors at right tackle because of Bulaga getting in older and then injuries as well. And now it feels like the Packers are building an offense, and Valdez Scantling and some of these other guys, Lazard's
coming back.
Yeah. Right. So you're starting to see these no-name wide receivers start to step up. And we were bitching and moaning all April and May about the Packers ignoring their massive talent gap at wide receiver and drafting Jordan Love in the first round. And maybe that's what they needed to get Aaron Rodgers super pissed off, where he's averaging 286 passing yards a game. He's thrown 26 touchdowns to only 3 interceptions. He's only been sacked 10 times all year and has a quarterback rating that's the best in the NFL at 116.4. Aaron Rodgers is your MVP through 9 games. And I think the Packers are the best, most stable team in the NFC because –
And here's the catalyst, Austin. What happened when they played the Bucs?
They beat them, right?
38-7. The Bucs beat the Packers. They got destroyed. It's hard to beat a team twice, right? So I think wherever they probably would play in Tampa, it depends on how the end of the season works out. But if they play in Green Bay, it doesn't really matter. I think that
I think it does matter. It does absolutely matter.
That
now,
venom,
I
think the Packers have the upper hand regardless. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, both quarterbacks have been very successful playing in January in freezing cold weather. So I don't think that matters as much. But I do think when you're talking about the class, the top three teams in the NFC that we know right now, Packers, Saints, Bucks, obviously with the Drew Brees injury, you're concerned about what that's going to look like for the next several weeks. But I feel like the Saints are going to make the playoffs. But then it's just about who can get hot riding into the playoffs, and whether it's the Packers or the Bucks. I think Aaron Rodgers has been the MVP, and I don't see him slowing down really.
Yeah, so that's my gut feeling. It came over me over the last week and a half, and this is even after the Bucks blew out the Panthers. Again, I want the Buccaneers to win the Super Bowl,
of course.
But this is my head and my heart. And my heart says the Bucks, but my head says the Green Bay Packers are going to the Super Bowl this year through 10 weeks.
Yeah. All right. So there's one contender that you have a positive gut feeling on. I have a negative gut feeling on another NFC contender. But first, Zach, let me tell you about Mandu. Let me tell you some great news about Mandu. And yesterday they announced that they're expanding into 6 new markets. And one of them, I know several of you guys in the Birmingham area will be very excited to learn that Mandu in 2021 will be coming to Birmingham, Charlotte, North Carolina, Little Rock, Arkansas, and in Florida in Naples, Fort Lauderdale, and Boca Raton. Obviously, Mandu doing fantastic in Nashville, 2 locations in Memphis as well, in Dallas, and Houston, Chicago, and Austin, Texas. So Mandu expanding. 2021 is going to be a big year for Mandu. Why? Because it's a great workout program. It's a 15-minute workout that gets your entire body in those 15 minutes on full blast. And it's easy in your joints, and it's great during these pandemic times. They've been able to transition seamlessly to COVID protocols because they were kind of doing COVID protocols before COVID. So Mandu.com, your first workout is absolutely free. So check that out when you can. Mandu.com, again, expanding into Birmingham, Charlotte, Little Rock, and several places in Florida in 2021. So congrats to them.
That's great to them, and we're proud to be their sponsor. I Mandu'd yesterday. Great workout. And I can't recommend it enough. I mean, Austin and I, we both use it. It's not like we're not just talking out of both sides of our mouth. We use it, and I'm glad that they're a sponsor. It's a great thing, great workout.
It is. So Donald says Arizona versus Seattle. Arizona wins and will be a contender. So Donald brings that up. I don't disagree with that. I think the Seahawks lose tomorrow night to the Arizona Cardinals. And Zach, my thought was the Seahawks are pretenders, but they're also going to make the playoffs. Their schedule is just too much of a cakewalk.
Well, and the other teams, look at the other teams. They're going to make it.
Right. No, they're absolutely going to make the playoffs.
The Vikings could backdoor them. That's their only problem.
Yeah. No, and I really wanted to go into this trying to find a way for the Seattle Seahawks to start as hot as they did, to be 5-0 and miss the playoffs. But I don't think that's going to happen because the Seahawks do have a tiebreaker over the Vikings. So that is a very important situation to watch. But the Cardinals, they play Thursday. I think the Cardinals win that game. And then they play the Rams in week 16, also at home. But every other game other than that, at Eagles, meh. Home versus the Giants, home versus the Jets, at Washington, and ending the season at the 49ers. The Seahawks are going to make the playoffs. But they're going to be one and done. That whoever the Seahawks play in the NFC playoffs, pick the other team to win. And whoever the NFC East champion plays in the playoffs, pick the other team to win. I think the best situation to be in is a really good situation is that top wildcard team in the NFC. I don't think the Seahawks are going to be that. It would be crazy to watch the Seahawks play like the Giants or whatever in that 4 versus 5. But the Seahawks are going to win 10 games, but they're not going to do anything in the playoffs. So my prediction, Seahawks one and done in the playoffs. And really, they're lucky to get to the playoffs in general. That's That's how I feel about Seattle.
Yeah, well, it's a one-man show. Well, two-man show. It's DK Metcalf and Russell Wilson. But as we know, in the NFL, that is not going to win you games consistently. That will win you games, and it has. But I can't disagree with you. And I look at – it's kind of funny. So I look at the Seahawks a lot like I do the Titans. I think that they have some really good qualities. But if your defense – is as slaw as the two teams that we're talking about, I don't think that you can advance as far as you need to. The reason why the Chiefs won the Super Bowl last year is because their defense stepped up at the end of the year, right? They stepped up. I don't know. I don't think that the Seahawks have the ability to step up. I don't think they have the players. I think the Titans, if like Clowney and Landry just like a light bulb catches and Rashaan Evans, a light bulb catches, and Desmond King and Adoree Jackson and Christian Fulton all come and play together, they could improve enough to maybe make a run. But I view those two teams kind of like I view Tennessee and Michigan, is they're just not good enough. Like they are the standard. They're just not in the upper echelon of football teams in the categories of where they need to be. And I kind of put the edge. Like the Seahawks have a better quarterback. I think Russell Wilson's better than Ryan Tannehill, but I think the Titans have the ability to be better at defense. So this is my struggle, but they're not on the same. We're not even talking about them in the same breath as the Steelers, the Chiefs, the Packers, or the Bucks.
No, they're kind of outside looking in type perspectives. The Titans are literally outside looking in. The Seahawks are holding on to a playoff spot as we speak. But I don't think I think the Seahawks make it. The Titans are in bigger jeopardy of missing the playoffs, but they are the same team. They absolutely are the same team. They got a potent offense and a bad defense. And when the potent offense cools off and can't sustain, they lose games. They both started 5-0. They both won close games early. Like Patriots, Seahawks, week 1, 35-30. Cowboys, Seahawks in week 3, 38-31. They beat the Vikings by 1 point. They beat the Dolphins by 1 score. So that's
they beat the Dolphins a lot worse than that.
Yeah, the Dolphins came back, but again, that was Fitzpatrick Dolphins, and Dolphins have really started to surge. But they do have several. I mean, I counted 3. 3 of their first 5 wins, not counting the Dolphins, very tight.
And what are the Titans? Look at their wins.
Same thing. Very tight when it comes to the Broncos, the Jags, the Vikings, minus the Bills, and then the Texans in overtime. So the Seahawks are the Titans are the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks, the one thing that Seahawks don't have that the Titans do is their best secondary guy who hasn't played a game this year, coming back at some point. Like Adoree Jackson is coming back. That's better. Like having Adoree Jackson in your back pocket is better than not having Adoree Jackson in your back pocket. Again, Adoree Jackson is not
still in your back pocket.
No, but again,
he hasn't left your back pocket for 10 weeks.
Right, but the Seahawks don't even have that card to play.
He's like that piece of gum that's just been in your back pocket for so long. Yeah, you got some gum to make your breath smell a little bit better, but you're gonna put it in your mouth. I don't know how that gum's gonna taste.
You think it might like fall apart, disintegrate when you shoot
right? That's my worry. Adoree Jackson has been out for 10 freaking weeks.
I know. Look, and it's not a good thing. I'm just again, my point is
10 weeks.
Yes, and again, every time we talk about Adoree Jackson, somebody's gonna say Adoree's not gonna fix the problem by himself, and that's not what we're talking about.
What injury takes 10 weeks?
Several injuries take 10 weeks. We don't know if Adoree Jackson had a surgery. We don't know what happened. Mike Hall says Adoree isn't playing this year. They would not put Adoree Jackson on the active.
He needs to restructure that. He hasn't played this year.
That's the fact.
Yeah.
But Adoree Jackson would not have been put on the active roster and take up a 53-man spot if he wasn't going to play.
I disagree. I think you can't say that. I think that they don't
He's
know.
been practicing for several weeks. Like
it obviously hasn't gotten good enough for him to play, though.
But what do we know about Mike Vrabel and how he handles these things? He handles them slow. He takes them slow.
Well, you know what they need to do? They needed to have him play on Thursday night in a key game against Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Where Phillip Rivers had 250 yards once you blinked 3 times.
Now, Mike Hall says he believes he's not going to play. Again, if the Dory Jackson was not going to play, he wouldn't have been practicing for the last 4 weeks and been activated to the roster. They would do something else. He's going to play. Now, Caesar says Adoree is going to be plugged in the defense too late if he comes back. I can get on board with too late, too little, too late.
Well, and my other question is, what is he going to be after suffering an injury that had him out 10 weeks, possibly 11? Who knows?
I mean,
that's the whole point, right? When you return from an injury, it's not like you're the guy where you're fully into the swing of things.
Sure, he's going to have run. But is he going to be better than Breon Borders? And better than Chris Jackson?
Injury, I don't know. If he can't run real well because of a knee, maybe not.
Yeah. One thing, going back, Steven had a comment about the Seahawks take I had. He says, Austin, I disagree. If the Seahawks battle the NFC East winner, the Seahawks will not get that top wild card spot. The top wild card spot in the NFC is going to go to either the Rams or the Cardinals, whoever does not win the division. That will be or the Saints or Bucks, right? Like it's going to so if the Seahawks make the playoffs, they're going to be that 7th team. So they're going to be playing who? Probably the winner of their own division in that situation or something like that.
Or the Saints and Bucks.
Yeah, one of those. So they're not going to win a playoff game. That's my overall take on that. A to Z Sports here live on this Wednesday. Twitter did something new yesterday, Zach, and we want to know how y'all feel about it. Are you in or out on fleets? Are you in or out on Twitter fleets? But Zach, tell the people about the Tucker Agency.
Yeah, Tucker TN. That's what you need to know, and that's where you need to go to save money on your insurance. It's this simple. Will Tucker and his team can help you save money. Nationals Independent Insurance Agency, WILL at TuckerTN.com. I talk about it every day because you can trust it. Life insurance, homeowners insurance, renters insurance, car insurance. You got car insurance? Yeah, if you got a car, you have car insurance. You probably don't know what you're paying for it. Bundle that together with maybe your homeowners and your car, your renters and your car insurance. Throw a life insurance policy in there. If you have a wife and kids and a family that you need to protect, God forbid something happens, be prepared with a good insurance policy, but also be smart and pay the correct price. Will at TuckerTN.com. The average customer saves 20% when they email him. It's really no-brainer. Email Will at TuckerTN. Say, I heard about you on A to Z Sports. How do I save money on my insurance? That's Will at TuckerTN.com.
A to Z Sports, are you in or out on Twitter fleets? I'm going to read some comments real quick. Rob says out. Mark says out. Rob also adds, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, you could argue that Twitter wasn't not broken. Orlando, big fleet guy. Big fleet guy, Orlando Jones. I love to hear that. C. Smith says, definitely out on fleets. If I wanted short videos, I'd go to Instagram or TikTok. I think that's the reason why Twitter created fleets, because they want you to stay on their platform and not go to Instagram or TikTok. And Brad just says, what the fleet are fleets? Twitter fleets are Instagram stories, are Snapchat stories, are Facebook stories, same damn thing, right? That is what Twitter fleets are. They last for 24 hours. You can either do pictures, videos, text captions, whatever it is. Right now, Twitter fleets are a watered down Instagram story because you don't have the ability to GIF or add, fun things like that. But that is what a Twitter fleet is.
So I'm out on fleets because of the personalization of it. Like this is how I use social media for what it's for. And a lot of it is for business, right? Because we run a social media company.
Correct.
But on my personal side of things, like I use my Instagram to get informed on my friends, on what they're doing, maybe some the personal lives of athletes and players or celebrities that I'm interested in, or funny videos that make me laugh and I can share to my buddies.
Yeah.
All right, that's what I used Instagram for. Facebook, I use a lot for business because we're on Facebook. That's a big presence of A to Z sports groups and stuff. But, who's having a kid? Somebody's having a kid. Oh, yep, somebody's having a kid.
But you also see that on Instagram too, I'm sure.
Yes, but what they do is like it's a catalog on Facebook. Like, right? Here's all the damn pictures and they're all it's in like and I don't look at them. My Facebook's jacked up because I use it for work. I don't really use it for personal.
Same here. Like Instagram is the only thing that I have personally that's not just completely effed for work stuff.
And Snapchat, I use in my personal life where I'll snap people funny things or get snaps, whatever. TikTok, I use because I find good information, funny videos. I also feel like I'm in on trends because I understand what's going on. The youngsters out there, which some of the videos are effing stupid on TikTok, but I've made dinners based on recipes on TikTok. So there's value. Twitter, as I've said earlier in the show, is a newspaper. It's a digital newspaper. I don't really care about the personal lives of the newspaper people.
But is that what's going to happen? Or because I'm very, and we had, and just full disclosure, pulling the curtain back, Zach and I, along with Buck, had about a 45-minute conversation about Twitter fleets after the show yesterday and what it can be used for and how it can work. And Orlando says Twitter is my main social media site, so it's a nice add-on. Orlando, Twitter's his main social media as he watches on Facebook. But I think I'm interested in fleets. I am in on fleets to the same level that I'm in on Instagram stories. But that doesn't mean I'm all the way in, because I'm not like I'm in on a handful of Instagram stories. I check it occasionally, but I think it's a good way for Twitter to try to become more relevant when it comes to business and media and content, because Twitter right now and what it has been is just a stream of information. And so Twitter fleets is just a new way to get our Twitter audience the different type of content that we've been doing for years on Instagram and Facebook. And so like we post Twitter fleets yesterday from A to Z and it's got crazy views. And I was curious to see like, how does the Twitter fleet view compare to the Instagram story view numbers when it comes to the A to Z accounts? Because we've never had a gauge of our Twitter audience like that in that type of way. Now, it was day one of Twitter fleet, so I think people are checking it out. We'll see how it works in a couple months. But I am in on Twitter fleets because I want to see how it evolves and really where it goes and how people are going to use it. Because people are creative and they will do funny, good content things with Twitter fleets, and I'm here for the story.
So here's my overall view, and Austin, you know this about me, and everybody has, and I think that's the best part. Everybody has their preference. Like Orlando says that Twitter is his main source of social media, and
he also says that A to Z, we are the only reason he opens his Facebook because he have a better comment section. Facebook comments are on a different level, I guess.
They are. Our A to Z Facebook comments are funny. Like I sometimes go through, I just read them. And now I recognize the names, right? Because some people watch the show in and out. But now, look, YouTube, BMO watches on YouTube. And so, but here's my problem with Twitter, and it always has been. I don't use Twitter a lot for my personal because Twitter is a great place for arguments, right? And you get into but I don't like arguments via text. I want to jump on here and I want you to look directly in my eye and tell me I'm an effing loser, because I don't think half the people that think that or would type that would say that to my face. And so that is my issue. So I don't dabble in this, but I will use Twitter fleets. Like I will digest what the information that they're giving me.
Several times yesterday, I thought I was on Instagram. because I'm a dark mode guy, right? And so it looks very similar. So several times my just muscle memory, my thumb went right to that Twitter fleet because that's where it's used to going on Instagram. And when my mind sees those circles that are lit up at the top, I go click on them.
And Marcus says, I only use Facebook. I'm too old for other social media. And that's not bad, Marcus, right? Like everybody has their place. Probably Marcus doesn't use TikTok. There's probably TikTokers that don't use Facebook because vice versa.
Yeah, I don't TikTok or Snapchat. I don't use either of those. I did use Snapchat like early stages, but then I kind of got bored of it.
Yeah, and there will be a new trend. I think the one thing that it does is it puts pressure on our business. It's just another thing to do, but that's the adaptation, right? You have to evolve. You cannot stick in your own way, especially in a company. You have to evolve as a person, but as a social media company, if there's a new trend, you have to test it out. Like A to Z doesn't do TikTok. I don't think that there's a benefit for TikTok right now. That may change. It may turn into something else, but A to Z Sports is here to give you content, information, conversation, the comment section, right? Like all of that. And if fleets help that, then we'll do them.
I'm also curious to watch because the Twitter audience and the Instagram audience, when it comes to the typical Twitter user and the typical Instagram user, are very different. Instagram much younger than the average Twitter user, I feel. And so, especially in sports media, most sports media members are not using Instagram. And so now sports media members are like, what the hell is a fleet and what do I do with this and what's its purpose?
And they won't do it.
When people like us are like, oh, it's just an Instagram story, we can kind of do the same type of stuff. Yeah. Right. And so we can adapt to it better where other people who have no idea what the benefits of Instagram are for sports media are like this new shiny thing that's blinding me. I don't know what to do with it. It's too much. But I am very intrigued with what Twitter fleets will do.
And so follow us on Twitter for our Twitter fleet at A to Z.
Yes, no doubt. A to Z Sports here live on a Wednesday. Let's end Wednesday like we always end Wednesday with throwing shade. I was actually curious to see if somebody would throw shade about Twitter fleets. But we kind of cut that out from under you guys. So you can still do it. You can still throw shit on Twitter fleets. So what is your shade today? I've got some shade ready. It happens this is my shade once a year. Once a year, I have the shade and I use it and then it's over, but it drives me crazy for at least 3 months. But first, let me tell you about Renters Warehouse Nashville, the professional landlords in the Nashville area. RentersWarehouse.com is where to go to find out how much your home can rent for. So many different ways that you can use Renters Warehouse to help you out financially. They can create extra cash flows for you and your family. If you already own rental property and you've been DIYing it for a while, it's not a good time to do that. Let Renters Warehouse use their resources to make it easy for you, or you just collect the cash and that's it. RentersWarehouse.com is where to go.
A to Z Sports, it is time on Wednesday to throw shade. Make sure you comment in our comment section. What shade do you want to throw? You can throw it on anything you want. You can throw it on somebody in your Twitter fleet. You could throw it to somebody that really ticked you off, something in the news, something that happened to your personal life. Everything is on the table here on Shade. Rob asks, do I use beard oil? I have beard balm. I do. You can't say that on a plane. Bomb, 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 bomb.
Balm? You can't say, can I have you have to say chapstick. You can't say, hey, where's the lip balm?
Yeah, you can't say bomb. You can't say bomb on a plane.
Balm? You can't say balm?
Can't say bomb.
Balm.
Bomb.
So you have to be like, hey, chapstick me. You can't say lip balm.
Yeah, you can't say
or
that.
Or is hey, do you have any Burt's Bees?
Yeah. So but I am growing out the beard. I'm in like month 2 or so. It's getting thicker. I do not use beard oil, but because I got to find the right thing that smells good. But it's getting thick. I'm starting to get some compliments on how thick it is, which is good. Shade. Rudy says, throwing shade at myself for Corey Davis last week. I said I would shade at Davis if he didn't give me a TD. Later on that day, Davis's brother passed away. He felt terrible. Corey Davis had an okay game against the Colts. No, they didn't win, but
yeah,
that was an emotional time for him.
No doubt. No doubt. Dom says shade on everyone making Christmas corny. Stop with your Christmas spirit. Stop with Mariah Carey. Stop with the lights in mid-October. Get over yourself. Stop. It's overkill. That is a great shade from Dom. I agree. Like I was talking to my wife the other day, and she's walking through Target, and she's like, "It's ridiculous. Like there's already Christmas stuff out." She's driving through the city, and like this, the city of Franklin is putting up all their like wreaths and lights on those damn light posts, and it's like, come on, people! Like Thanksgiving, it gets the biggest screw job of every holiday because as soon as Halloween's over, or maybe even before Halloween happens, it's Christmas season. So we don't. It's in our household. We don't put up our tree until normally the SEC championship game, but that's different this year. So we'll put it up like first weekend of December, right?
Yeah, that's fair. The funny thing is everybody's getting in the Christmas spirit to not go see their family this year because of coronavirus, right? Or whatever people think.
Yes.
But I do feel like it is I don't know. I feel like it is earlier this year.
It gets earlier every year. Why?
Yeah.
Because it makes so much freaking money. Because that's the thing. Because it gets early every year, and then you have to go buy your stuff in October because everybody else is going to go race and buy their stuff. And so if you wait till mid-November, all the good stuff's gone, all the decoration stuff. So
all right, so Steven says, shade on A to Z crew for not noticing. Great questions on elaborating with them. So, Steven, give us your great question, and I will elaborate.
Steven, and he had the laughing emoji, so we know it's having fun. So he's not just hammering us. Yeah, but Steven, like we're doing a lot of things while the show's happening, and a lot of comments come in. So we'd love to be able to answer that.
Rob throws shade at you for being unable to grow a beard. Right
well,
there.
Look, that's not my damn fault. I haven't shaved in over a week, and this is what I got.
It's genes.
And Rob earlier, Rob says that he's jealous that he can't grow anything. Different Rob.
So, all right. So, do you want to go first with your shade?
Yeah, I'll go first because you're going to expand into other things, and I feel like my shade after your shade will just be like all right, cool, man. So my shade is it's shock season. It's cold. I don't know what it is about my body. I carry a lot of static electricity, and it's shock season. Every time I touch something outside, whether it be my car, whether it be whatever it is, something, I am going to get shocked by everything. And if it's taking off a pullover or changing clothes, I'm going to have shock. You're going to hear the static come off. It's something about me. I use lotion. I don't have dry skin. I don't understand it. I get shocked every day, multiple times a day, starting yesterday, the first time it happened. And now I look like an absolute crazy person when I'm in public and I'm like doing things in order to not get shocked. And people stare at me and they're like, this guy needs to go somewhere and get some help. But it's shock season, and I hate this for the next 3 months.
I know you haven't seen this movie because you don't watch a lot of movies, but when you said I use lotion, it just reminded me, and everybody who's seen the movie gets it. If you know, you know. I just had a flash of the scene of Buffalo Bill in Silence of the Lambs saying, "It puts the lotion in the basket." And you may not know what that means, but it is hilarious. Trask got it.
Yeah, of course. Like that's like it's just even if you haven't seen the movie, you know what that is.
I don't get the static. I don't really
Brad just says it's because of my electric personality, and
what dad? Is Brad a dad? Because that was
where's Jarrell? Because Jarrell called me dynamic earlier in the football season, so maybe it's just my dynamic abilities transfer to static electricity, and when the weather gets cold.
Orlando says he used to put his sleeves to open doors.
Oh, I do that all the time. Like if it's a metal door handle, I touch the door first, and then I grab the handle, and I look like the crazy OCD person.
Well, now you're just going to look like you don't want coronavirus. You're just not touching things.
No, now it's just I touch other things before I touch metal things, so I'm actually making it worse.
All right, so my shade is good, And it also, I think this is good. This is a positive shade, but it's shade to the Corona bros in this world that will not leave their house. And there's a lot of you out there. I think that you should take the precautions, wear a mask, but I also think you shouldn't be locked in your basement. So I saw this and I actually got excited, Austin. I don't know if you know this, but the New York Times wrote an article recently, and everybody's trying to figure out what the coronavirus is. I think since March, we've learned more about the coronavirus, right? Like, it doesn't transfer as easily on surfaces compared to transaction through respiratory breath and things of that nature, right? Mask protects against that. So we've changed our theory of it. Also, there was a rumor swirling. I don't know. I think it was a scare tactic from the Corona bro politicians a couple of months ago, saying that when you get it, it only lasts like 3 months of immunity and then you're going to get it again. You're going to get it again. And I was like, give me a break. I don't believe it. So here's the good news. The good news is I read yesterday that immunity to the coronavirus may last years, that new data's hint at if you get it, your immunity to the virus actually could last for prolonged years.
A buck's good to like 2023.
Right?
Okay.
Right? And like, obviously, look, immune system, but people die of 400,000 people died of heart disease last year, right? Like, come on. However many thousands of people died from smoking or cancer or whatever. And I understand it's a pandemic. It's new. That's why we were paying attention to it. And I think we should. But there's so many different Corona bro regulations. And I don't know what we're going to in 2021. We got a new president, whatever that is. Again, I'm not getting into politics, but I believe that we should take the precautions. We should wait on the vaccine and see what that does. And you're going to be able to take it or not take it. I also have a conspiracy theory that also I'm going to give you my gut feeling right now because we're talking about it. I think that they will mandate eventually that you won't be able to get on a plane or travel to maybe another country or something without verification that you have the vaccine. Now, I don't want that, but I'm just saying that.
That's just so much speculation.
I know it is speculation. Again, it's conspiracy.
What is your shade? What is your shade here? Like,
my shade is on the Corona bros that are so scared of the virus when now there's reports that it's not that bad and that when you get it, if you do get it, you could have been immune for years. So all of the shade for the people saying, don't go, it's coming.
You don't know. Like, you have no idea. And like, where's Hunter? Hunter says, Zach, I hate Corona Bros too, but my wife's brother got it a second time. So like, again, there's no like standard. It's your own. It's everything's different, right? Everything's
what we have learned is it's not that deadly. It can be affected and people can die from it. But what we have learned that, Austin, and so that's my shade, is on the Corona bros. I'm not saying go out there like the Wild Wild West and not wear masks. I'm not saying
your shade was so muddy that I lost what you were actually throwing shade at, because then you started talking about speculatory restrictions about flying.
I'm just
vaccine in the future.
Well, yeah, because we're trying to figure this out. Because look, we have been. I mean, haven't we been living in some sort of a bubble over the last 8 months, right? And so are we going to continue this bubble, or is this bubble going to get smaller, or are we going to find a window, a kind of nook to something else? That's all I'm trying to say. Look, I'm not saying right, left. I'm not doing that. I'm just bringing up the facts of what we've learned about the coronavirus to this point. We have positives that the vaccine, we've got 90% and 94.3%. That is good. We have obviously a new year on the horizon. All I'm trying to get is to not have people scared to death, because people are scared to death.
But Ethan says, I'd rather be a pansy made fun of by people like Zach than risking.
Ethan is a Corona bro.
Time out. Let me finish the damn comment, because you have to be able to respect other people's opinions and feelings. And because he says then risk getting his baby or his elderly parent sick. So you can't make fun of everybody and blanket everybody when you don't know their specific situation. You have to be able to respect.
You can justify that by anything. I understand everybody has a different situation, but you can justify by never walking out of your house or going to the grocery store because you have parents or grandparents.
That's extreme. You're extremely reacting to the extreme, which is not what everybody is. React properly to the non-extreme.
But that's what I'm throwing shade at, Austin. So if you want to bring it all back and clear the mud out of your eyes, I am talking to the extremist Corona bros that we all know, right? We're not numb to it, that try to fear people into not leaving their house. That is my shade. So you get it?
I got you. All right. So I did want to read this one because we're going to disagree on this shade. Elizabeth says, my shade, dude at the shop forgot to put mayo on her Sunday football sub. Now, for me, that would fall under shade. For Zach, that would be doing the right thing of not putting mayo on the sandwich.
Yeah, I'm anti-mayo. I can't. Mayo and spiders. Mayo and spiders. Those are the two things I cannot do. Don't like them, don't want them, can't win with them, can't do it. And so but again, everybody has their personal preference. I like
light mayo is good. I mean, there is such thing as too much mayo. Absolutely.
You ever ask for heavy mayo?
No. Whoever does that,
I don't know.
No. I did know a kid in school who used to dip his French fries in mayo.
And I've heard of that, but
light mayo is good.
Nobody extra mayo.
And I'm with Shrike. Who cares what other people do? If they want to stay safe, why does it matter if they don't leave? Like, what does it matter to you? What does it matter to you?
It's the Shrike, do you not listen? It's the regulations that are put in place based on that. To people, it's America. You can do what I don't care. Yeah, no, but why does it regulations? Matter? Do you know what's happening in Los Angeles right now? Like, come on. You also have to be informed about what's going on and where we're going.
I shouldn't have read the comment because I started up again.
Right, but that's the case. I'm not talking about, look, you can do what you please, right? I believe you need to wear a mask in public until we get to a better place. I'm not anti-mask. Don't misconstrue this.
I'm not.
But I want to make sure that we all realize that. I'm talking about the regulations moving forward and the impact it has on livelihood, economic livelihood at times, compared to the facts that we know about the virus of being less deadly than we originally thought. And nobody will admit that. We sit there and you throw around the 240,000 people that died. In the scheme of things in life, you know how many people died in the Spanish flu in 1918? 50 effing million, right? So, like, we also have to understand what that number means. Every life matters. And I'm not getting political on that, but like everybody's life is valued. But you also have to take the statistics, and all I'm talking about is the regulations we live under, not the people to do what they want to do.
All right. And with that, Houston's wrong. Mayo is not the superior condiment. That would be ranch. Ranch is the superior condiment.
I think spicy mustard.
Spicy mustard is a great condiment, but it's not as versatile as ranch, and you can't argue that. Ranch has the most versatility.
I don't use ranch, though. I wish honey mustard had more versatility.
Honey mustard's second most versatile, in my opinion.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you have honey mustard salads?
Honey mustard is a salad dressing. Absolutely.
I know. I do usually eat honey mustard salads. It's good on chicken tenders. What else?
Pizza crust.
Honey mustard and pizza?
Yeah. French fries, also sweet potato fries and honey mustard. Great.
Pizza's ridiculous.
No, man. Pizza crust dipped in the honey mustard. Absolutely.
You can't get that. Where do pizza places carry that?
High school is where you get that.
How old are you?
I'm 30, but when I was 14, 15, 16 years old, I was dipping my high school lunch pizza crust in honey mustard. That's a honey mustard. Absolutely.
In high school, I had a lot more acne too, right? You don't do that anymore.
I'm just saying. Honey mustard is the second most versatile condiment behind ranch. Ranch can be used on salads. It can be used as a dipping sauce. It can be used with a bunch of different. You can do a lot of things with ranch. You can also do a lot of things with honey mustard, but you cannot do everything with honey mustard that you can do with ranch.
Again, I don't eat ranch, so I'm not. I can't sit there and like. I don't hate ranch. I hate mayonnaise, but I don't have the same vitriol that I have towards mayonnaise at ranch.
No, you don't. All right, guys. Scoop brings up ketchup, Patrick Mahomes. Ketchup is I think, one of the most limited condiments.
Well, you got fries.
Potatoes. That's about it.
Yeah, I don't really use.
What do you put in ketchup? I mean, some people put ketchup on their eggs.
Nope. I put salsa.
I do too. I'm big salsa on eggs every day for lunch.
So is salsa the most versatile?
Is salsa a condiment?
Yeah. I vote salsa, final answer. Salsa, final answer.
Is salsa a condiment? Hold on.
I use it, chips? I put it on burgers sometimes, a Southwest flare-up burger.
Salsa's not as versatile as ranch.
Defined? What is it defined as?
It is variety of sauces. Salsa is a variety of sauces used at table as condiments for tacos and other Mexican dishes.
Right? Salsa is my vote.
Salsa is a condiment.
It's the best, though. If we voted on the best.
We're not talking about the best. We're talking about the most versatile.
But I believe that it is. You can put it on a ton of things.
A ton of things, but you cannot put salsa on pizza. You can put ranch on pizza. You cannot dip your French fries into salsa.
You don't use ranch to scoop chips. It can't do that.
If I'm in a bind and I have a bunch of chips.
No, you don't have both things.
That's one thing. And you actually can. There are ranch dips for vegetables. Like you can dip vegetables in ranch. You can dip certain chips in ranch dip. Absolutely.
You can't put ranch on eggs.
No, that'd be weird. But again, like salsa is more limited.
Burritos, tacos, nachos.
Again, that's all Mexican dishes. That's great. Ranch can also go on
burgers. You can put salsa on burgers.
Not really.
Oh, Southwest. Oh, have you ever put sour cream salsa in a jalapeno burger? Oh, it's really good.
I'm sure that's good. But again, ranch is more versatile than salsa.
I don't know if I agree with that. It can't do Italian food, I understand.
Star Swimmer is right. You can put ranch on any of those Mexican dishes. You cannot use salsa with a lot of your ranch objects.
I go salsa.
Ranch is the most versatile condiment. And Trust is right. It depends on the salsa. Not all salsas are created equal. Salsa has a big variety in what you're going to get. There's really good salsas, there's average salsas, and there are really bad salsas. Ranch is ranch for the most part. Now, there's good ranch, but there's always, like, the ranch floor is pretty high.
I would assume that. Again, I don't eat ranch. I would assume that.
Okay. Are we good here?
I guess so.
All right. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you tomorrow on a Titans Thursday. And then Buck will be live later tonight for his take on the most versatile condiment. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you later. Oh, pico de gallo is worthless.
No.
Pico de gallo is boring.
It's good.
Salsa. It's boring salsa.
No, a pico de gallo is clutch when you're making fajitas at a Mexican restaurant.
No, pico is boring salsa. That's my favorite.
You've never had good pico.
See you guys later.